What's going on, everyone? So welcome to my latest video. This is part of a series where I focus on Academy Award Best Picture nominees and rank them from worst to best per year. So I've done such years in the past, such as 2000, 2022, and currently I am finishing up my 1990s Academy Award Best Picture nominees. I've done 1990, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, and you guys guessed it because you clicked on this video. I'm doing the 1999 Academy Award Best Picture nominees. And I'm very happy to finally be able to say that, because in all the other videos, I would start by almost saying 1999 instead of like 1990 or 91. So I'm glad that we're finally here, guys, at the finish line of the 90s. And I'm even more excited to talk about 1999 because what a year for films. What a year. Like, holy cow. But especially for the Academy Award Best Picture nominees. And there were 5, in case you don't know. So we rank them from 5 being the worst to 1 being the best, and of course, my humble opinion. And I am looking forward to seeing your guys' ranking in the comment section down below, because this year especially, the ranking is going to be all over for many people. I mean, it's going to be like that in general because everyone's opinion is different, but this year especially. So I'm very curious to hear your guys' thoughts down below on the ranking. And guys, enough exposition. Let's get started. So kicking things off, number 5, we have the one nominee that I don't think should have gotten nominated, and that is my number 5, which is the Cider House Rules. So a little bit of backstory about the Cider House Rules. I saw this movie about a decade ago, and I didn't like it. I actually hated it. I actually have an email where I said that this was a liberalist movie, which, even looking back, I'm like, what the heck, a liberalist movie? Not even like a liberal movie, it's a liberalist movie. So I'm just like, really? Those are my thoughts? So I decided that I was going to revisit it, a decade later, and definitely is not a liberalist film at all. It's not. It's a fine middle of the road type movie. Like, it's well put together from a filmmaking standpoint. It looks good. The score is nice. The performances are nice. And I do think that the themes and messages are intriguing, but because the story and the directing are just so safe, it does kind of deflate a lot of what the themes and messages are going for. I don't know. Maybe it's because I still remember this film from a decade ago, but I don't know. It just felt very safe. And given all the themes and messages that it's dealing with, I just kind of wish that it delved more than just surface-based level of this stuff. But overall, I definitely like it better than I did the first time. And if someone were to say, would you watch it again? I think I might. I don't know. I think I might. But it's overall not a film that I would have given the Academy Award Best Picture nominee for, especially for this year. But still, it's fine. And why it's my number 5. Next up, my number 4, we have The Sixth Sense. I love The Sixth Sense. I really do. I think that Haley Joel Osment gives a great performance. Bruce Willis's subdued performance is also really good. I like the buildup of suspense. M. Night Shyamalan's directing is quite good. I really like the cinematography. James Newton Howard's score is just top tier. And, of course, the twist, I'm not going to spoil it in case you don't know, but I do think the twist ending is quite good. And I've heard some people say that the twist ending is what makes the film, but honestly, I think it's the cherry on top, because if you cut out the last 10 minutes, you still have a really, really good drama about delving into family drama and really trying to deal with trauma specifically and dealing with the past. And I think that, again, these themes and messages are handled really well. I like The Sixth Sense quite a bit. I can see why it got nominated for Best Picture, and I'm happy it did. And yeah, it's my number 4. Next up, my number 3. Man, this film's so great. My number 3 is The Green Mile. So The Green Mile is one of those films that, I'm just going to say, I think that the first time it didn't make me cry, but every time after, just like clockwork, it always makes me cry. I think it's probably because you just can't help but get caught up with all these characters. I still say to this day that this is one of the best casts ever. Every single person is perfectly cast, and every single performance is just top notch. The film's over 3 hours for sure, but because you care so much about these characters and you really feel as though you're with these characters in the setting, you can't help but get lost in the 3+ hours. And it also helps that the filmmaking is outstanding, and overall it is a very, very strong film. I like The Green Mile quite a bit, and yeah, that's why it's my number 3. Next up, my number 2. I feel like this is the film that would have won Best Picture had it not been for number 1, but my number 2 is The Insider. So The Insider is a film that I saw nearly a decade ago, and I loved it. I loved it immediately. But each subsequential viewing, I've grown to love it more and more. And the most recent viewing was actually not too long ago, like a couple months ago, as the filming of this video. And I actually watched the real life interview of the individual that this film is based on, and it's kind of crazy how accurate this film is in those aspects, like with the actual interview itself. And I think that in terms of based on true stories, it's one of the best I've personally seen. And it also helps that you have great performances: Christopher Plummer, Al Pacino, and of course Russell Crowe's performance, man. It's a film that really, really does resonate. And I think that at over 2.5 hours, it's something that I know some people might balk at in terms of watching, but I would highly recommend to sit down and watch it. I think it's a great, gripping Michael Mann film. And yeah, that's why it's my number 2. Next up, my number 1, you guys probably guessed it because of my my shirt. But my number 1, we have American Beauty. So American Beauty, as the filming of this video, which is September of 2023, it is my favorite film of all time. It's always a day-by-day basis where this film or Mulholland Drive, they go back and forth in terms of which is my favorite. But American Beauty, I just think, is the perfect culmination of the 1990s. You have, dealing with a lot of balancing of comedy and drama that this film delves into, suburban lifestyle, midlife crisis, and just also being 2 hours and every single plot point, every single story beat really hitting its mark. I think it's one of the most perfectly paced films I've ever seen. I mean, 1 minute you'll see the opening scene of the camera just going over the neighborhood, and the next thing I know it's the very last scene, and I'm like, holy cow! It flies by. Tom Snoonian gives one of his best scores of all time, might even be my favorite, but it's such a great score. Every single performance is outstanding. Annette Bening, Kevin Spacey, Laura Birch, everyone works well. Everyone in this cast is pitch perfect. I also love the humor. I think the humor is just hilarious. The drama works, and it balances also something that is quite hard, where it's delving into teenage drama, whilst at the same time also delving into adult drama. And it's able to balance these two things very, very well. I love American Beauty. I really do. I know some people say that, it hasn't aged well. I disagree personally. I think this film's aged like a fine wine. I know some people, it's because Kevin Spacey, but it's like one of those things where a film, hundreds if not thousands of people work on a film, so one bad apple out of a couple thousand. I mean, look, everyone's different, but for me, I can still appreciate American Beauty and how great it is. The themes and messages that it delves into are interesting. It's just an overall very, 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 very well crafted film. And yeah, happy it won Best Picture. That's my number 1. But guys, 1999, as I said earlier in the video, I think that it was a stellar year for films. I think what made it even better, though, was that there were so many options, not only just in the films that were, gearing up to try to get nominations for the Academy Awards, but also just genre fare. I mean, you have something like, say, I don't know, The Matrix. It's like a solid, well-crafted film on the technical categories, and I'm not a fan of it, but, I know some people like the Star Wars Phantom Menace. And that came out this year. So just a lot of things for everyone. And I will say, in terms of the nominations, 1999 was especially a great year because 4 of the 5 films I either love or I think are masterpieces. But I will say this. The number 5 slot is something that does stand out because Being John Malkovich got a Best Director nomination, but it didn't get a Best Picture nomination. And I really, really do think that this would have been one of the best years for Best Picture nominees if they replaced Being John Malkovich with the Cider House Rules. If the Cider House Rules wasn't there and you have Being John Malkovich, it would have been incredible. Being John Malkovich is one of my favorite films of all time as well. So yeah, I think that film was just so creative. So I do wish that it got nominated, but alas, 4 out of 5, not a bad rating. So guys, let me know your ranking though, the 1999 Academy Award Best Picture nominees down below. And as always, don't forget subscription, notification bell, follow me down on Letterboxd, and I will catch you guys later.